Hi everyone, it's Terry here from nutsaboutsstamping.com. In a couple of weeks, your friends and family may be arriving at your house to celebrate Thanksgiving together, and I know that you've got a lot to prepare for. So why not let Stampin' Up! And me help you with your table decorations. I have the perfect way to make your Thanksgiving table look stunning this year, and I'm going to show you how to create a table setting cutlery pouch project. That's a mouthful. Basically what it is it's a pouch that you're going to tuck your silverware, your cutlery, your plasticware, however you're going to serve your Thanksgiving dinner this year. And it's going to make each place setting look absolutely stunning. I'm going to create this pouch with the help of my Big Shot, my Labels to Love stamp set, and my Seasonal Layers Thinlits die. So let's get started, and along the way I'm going to be sharing additional tips and tricks for you to change up this project a little bit based on your style and your taste. So I'm going to start with a piece of Blackberry Bliss paper, and I have cut it 7.5 inches by 6 inches. And I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. This is the Simply Scored. Now if I was making a bunch of these, I would use these little markers, and I would place the markers along where I'm going to score so that I can just rip through and do a whole bunch. I would do this assembly style, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. So lay your Blackberry Bliss cardstock, or whichever color you choose, along your scoreboard so that it's at the 7.5 side, so it's horizontal. And you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And you're going to score it again at 4 inches. So that's 1/2 inch and 4 inches. Then you're going to turn it clockwise, 1 turn, and you're going to score it again at the 1 inch mark. And that's all you need your scoreboard for. So I'm sure you can see that you could just have all your cardstock cut, one piece for each person or each place setting at your Thanksgiving table. And then just put one, and then the next, and the next, and the next. So your first step in your assembly line would be to score everything. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to bring in your paper snips. And I'll try and bring this up so you can see it. It's really hard on this dark cardstock, so I've actually done a template for you in Very Vanilla. So I'll show that to you in a minute, and then you can see everything, I think, a little bit more clearly. So I've got this score here, and a score across here. So what you want to do is you want to cut off this piece. Let me show you. Let me cut first, and then I'll show you. Okay, so you're going to cut that piece off like so, and then you're going to cut this little tab off in the corner. So there's your second cut. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to angle this a little bit so that there's no overlap. There's no perfect way to do this. It doesn't matter if this angle and this angle are even or not. And then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to angle this like so. Okay? So let me show, well, I'm going to do one more step, and then I'll bring in my Very Vanilla. So I cut this piece off here, and then I angled this. I angled this. I cut off the little tab, and then I did my final angle. So then what you want to do is you want to bring in your bone folder, and you want to burnish. Burnish means you're going to make each score line a perfectly flat fold. And then the last one, like so. Okay, so that you can see that the pocket is taking shape. There is one more thing I want to do though, and I'm going to bring in my Big Shot and show you what's happening with this. All right, so I've got my Big Shot with my magnetic platform, my bottom standard cutting pad, and then I'm going to bring in this pocket that I'm creating, and I have one of my larger layering circles framelits, and what I want to do is I want to cut a nice big hole, partial circle hole, in one side of my pocket. So let me just get this set up. It doesn't have to be perfect. What you do want though is you would like to try and have your circle so that you've got some Blackberry Bliss on either side, so it looks a little bit even. You don't want it to be uneven. Okay, and then I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. Okay, there you go. Can you see that? Now let me show you this using Very Vanilla. That might be easier for you to see. So I've got the circle cut out, I've got my score lines, and then let me just turn this around and you can see how I have created this bit here. I'll have full instructions on this over on my blog, so if you want to print them out and save them for future reference, you can head over there, www.nutsaboutstamping.com, and you can download that and print it out when you've got some spare time. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to put this pocket together. So I have some tear and tape adhesive, which is like a tape runner, but it's a little bit stronger than tape runner, which is what you want, because don't forget you're going to be putting plasticware or silverware, cutlery, however you call it, inside this pocket. So you want it to be nice and strong. And I'm going to put another piece of tear and tape here, and that'll hold the pocket shut. Okay, so I'm going to fold this in first, and then I'm going to close this up, trying to make sure that it's even. Okay, now you want it to be a little poofy because you want to be able to slide your tableware inside the pocket. All right, so we're really well on our way with this. Now it's time to do some decorations. To decorate the front of my cutlery pocket, I'm going to use the Labels to Love stamp set, and there's this image that says Give Thanks. So I've mounted that onto a clear block, and I'm going to use 2 colors of my markers. So here's a tip. If you want quick and easy, if you have a bunch of place settings to create, just choose one color and use your ink pad. So that way you can ink and stamp, ink and stamp, ink and stamp, and you can do that again as the second part of your assembly line. For me, because I'm only making one pocket, what I would like to do is use my Stampin' Up markers. So I've got my crushed curry, and I've got my Blackberry Bliss, and there's a reason why I've chosen crushed curry, but hang on for a minute and you'll figure that out in a second. So I am coloring the leaves or the little branches using my crushed curry, and then I'm coloring the phrase which says Give Thanks using my Blackberry Bliss. When you color using your Stampin' Up markers, you just use the side of your marker. You don't have to press really hard at all. And you can see that the ink is applying. So there we go. I have my phrase. I'm going to bring my Big Shot back in. And I have a second circle from the Layering Circles pack. It fits perfectly around, and I chose a circle for this because it's going to match the circle on my pocket. So I'm trying to keep everything coordinated by shape as well as by color. Okay, and then I'm going to run that out through the Big Shot. And then I'm done with my Big Shot. There we go. Now, if I wanted to add another dimension to this, so if I wanted to take it one step further, I would probably use a layer of crushed curry underneath. In the layering circles pack, there are straight circles, straight circles, and then there's, oh my goodness, I forget, like zigzaggy circles. I can't remember what it's called. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to grab a scrap piece of my Country Lane Designer Series paper. I love this paper, and actually I got the color idea for this project by starting with this little piece of paper, which has mint macaron, crushed curry, blackberry bliss, and Cajun craze. So you could actually make your pocket any one of those colors. You could make it mint macaron, Cajun craze, or blackberry bliss like I did. You could make it whisper white, really. So what I've done is I've got a scrap piece of the paper, and I'm going to adhere it to the front of my pocket. Now, if you wanted to make your pocket a little bit more decorative, what you could do is you could make this strip a belly band. So you could have it wrap all the way around the entire pocket. If you're going to make a bunch of them, maybe you don't want to do that, because really they're just going to sit on the plate like that. I don't imagine people would be turning it over. And if they did, make sure you put your signature on the back so that they know that this was handmade for them. You could also create a layer for underneath this layer of Designer Series paper, or you could have a strip above and a strip below of a contrasting color just to make it stand out. I am quite happy with mine as it is. I want to keep it a little bit simple. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my phrase layer. I could put a strip of contrasting cardstock underneath to make it stand out more. But what I'm going to do for mine is I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to pop mine up like so off the front of my pocket. Let's see if I can get it straight. Okay, there we go, like so. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I have a piece of crushed curry cardstock. I was not done with my Big Shot. And I have one of the framelits or thinlits. It's a thinlit from the Seasonal Layers Thinlits dies. It's this little maple leaf. Perfect for Canadian Thanksgiving, even though that's over. All right, so I'm going to use the same sandwich. I'm going to put my framelit on this scrap piece of crushed curry. I'm going to put my top standard cutting pad on, and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. All right, there's my leaf, and as you can tell, likely from the template that I used, I actually, before the video began, did an additional one just so that you don't have to sit there and watch me do this over and over and over. And I think what I'm going to do, ooh, I like that with poking up a little bit. I'm going to use my snail adhesive. I don't really want to draw too much attention to the leaves. They're more of a decorative item for me. So I'm going to put one there, and I'm going to tuck one under here. If you have different leaf framelits, you could try those. Look at the leaf pattern in the Designer Series paper and choose leaves that maybe are more closely in shape to the ones in the paper. I'm not that fussed about it. I'm quite happy with how this is looking so far. So I consider my pocket done. Now, the other thing that you could do is grab a napkin, and I would get a napkin that is color coordinated with the colors I'm using for my Thanksgiving table. I would take my plasticware and I would fold my napkin around my plasticware. I'm not going to be able to do this well on the video. Sorry. Okay, something like this. Obviously yours would look much nicer than mine because you're not doing it on video. And then I would tuck it in the pocket like so. I probably would use a smaller napkin, maybe a napkin that's more like one you would put with a teacup. But this is just fine with me. And then what you would do is you would lay one of these out on each plate around your Thanksgiving table to create an absolutely stunning Thanksgiving table this year. For a complete listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for all of the cardstock, please visit my blog, www.nutsaboutsstamping.com. And if you like this project, would you please click the like button? And if you click that little bell, you'll get an email notice or a notice from YouTube that I've uploaded my next video. That way you won't miss other project ideas. I try and share something with you each week. I'm Terry. I am Nuts About Stamping. I hope you create something beautiful today too. Bye for now.